Before we get to the Browns, hit subscribe. Do the subscribe thing. Hit the thumbs up. Do all the things. Hit the button. Hit the bell. Make sure you know when Check the Mic is going live. We're giving a little extra time to the Norths here today, Sam. But we got the Cleveland Browns. They're picking at number 2 overall. And what are we doing here if we're the Browns? Let me start by saying I think the overall job that Andrew Berry has done has been good, solid, cogent, good. It's been good. The Watson thing has been awful, as we know. And it's Aaron Rodgers level of trickling down tentacles into all other parts of the organization. Awful. So the sooner you can get out from under Deshaun Watson, the better.
Other than the obvious, Mrs. Lincoln, did you enjoy the play? Like, is it possible to have a good overall job when you've committed literally the worst personnel move that's ever been made in NFL history?
Maybe, because I don't know how much of that was him plus ownership, coaches, or whatever. But my point is, like, if they were able to draft Cam Ward, I don't think Cam Ward's walking into this awful situation, right? That's what I'm saying, right? I think the infrastructure between Stefanski as a coach and an offensive line that certainly regressed, but I think can get back to form. Some pass catchers where they could use a little bit of juice, but they have some players there. Like, I think it's a good enough infrastructure for a rookie quarterback to come in and to build upon. Obviously, the most important decision has been awful and terrible. And every time a non-Deshaun Watson quarterback went out there, the team was better. That's bad. That's very bad.
Yeah. Yeah, very bad. So, like, we don't have to relitigate it. It was literally, I think it's genuinely the worst personnel move that's ever been made in the NFL. There have been some terrible moves made, and even some terrible moves made recently, and nothing comes close to the Deshaun Watson deal with everything involved. The draft picks you had to give up to make it happen, the contract you signed him to that is still not just unprecedented, but like it's treated as an anomaly. Like the rest of the league did not treat that as precedent and continue with it and go like they went, no, that's ridiculous. That's an idiotic move the Browns did. We're not acknowledging that as a thing. And the morality of the whole Deshaun Watson saga at the time, like it goes down as literally the worst move that's ever happened. So it leaves you in this spot where you're still saddled with this guy's contract. I can't imagine any team being willing to take that off your hands for anything. You can't really cut him. So the only way out of this, we are left with the decision of at number 2 overall, do we draft a quarterback or not?
Maybe. Yeah. They need a quarterback.
And the other question is, does that become more likely if Tennessee passes at 1?
I think it does. I mean, I think obviously we say this all the time, even though the consensus feels like there's 2 quarterbacks, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, doesn't mean that like, in the Browns building, it could be Cam Ward or bust. Could be Shedeur or bust. So who the heck knows? But if it's Cam Ward or bust, then if he's available, they take him, right? So I think it does depend on what Tennessee's going to do, or if the Giants jump up to number 1 and take the guy that the Browns like. I mean, I'm curious how much they need to they do a full reset here as well. I've said this for the Jets. I've said this for the Raiders. Are they the type of team that should say, let's look to 2026. Let's make all of our moves toward the future. The quicker we can completely move on from the Watson thing, the better. But right now, while we're in the middle of this contract, it's going to be difficult. It's just going to be difficult to build the team around him. Like, let's make 2026 moves. And if that's the case, maybe you go best player available. You take Abdul Carter. You take Travis Hunter. You have to take shots at quarterback the same way I said with the Steelers. You go second wave of QBs. You get somebody in the building, somebody that you just could hit on in the second, third, fourth round. And you just look to the future as you try to get unhitched from Watson.
I mean, so yeah, if you're doing that, you're trading away Myles Garrett. Like you're blowing the thing up completely and stripping it all the way down to the studs. I don't know. Can they survive that? Like that's another one of those. Can as good a job as you think that Andrew Berry has done overall, can he survive going this individual move was so bad that I have to rip everything out and start over?
Yeah, I'm not putting Andrew Berry in the Hall of Fame or anything like that. I'm not saying, but I'm saying we are 1 year removed from them, having 5 quarterbacks and dragging Flacco off the couch and the defense was so good and the O-line and everything else was so good enough that they could make a little playoff run. Like, that's pretty good given how bad their quarterback situation has been, right? So again, I view that as like, to me, it's more difficult to make, tens of moves to get a good team together than it is to make one move at quarterback. Now, the one move at quarterback is the most important one, and it's a challenge, and you gotta have a good process to do it. But several moves were really good to put the infrastructure in place for the Browns. And I don't think they're that far off. Like, they're one of the better number 2 overall picking teams that you'll see from a roster perspective. How's that for a moral victory for the Browns?
Yeah. It's like that question, are they the best 4-2 team of all time? Are the Browns the best number 2 pick team in the draft of all time?
Maybe they are.
Obviously, missing a quarterback is always a problem, but missing it in the way they missed it had significantly bigger ramifications than if they just drafted a quarterback at 2 and that didn't work out. And, you just set yourself back a year or two. Like, this has crippled the team because Deshaun Watson's cap number for 2025 is $72.9 million, like, currently. So it's not only that you just missed on a guy, it's that you missed on a guy and his giant fully guaranteed contract is a colossal albatross hanging around your neck, just decaying in front of you, and you're stuck with it. Like, and the only way out of that is to either rip it all apart or draft a quarterback at number 2. His contract is like $10 million a year. What's $10 more million while you've already got, a cap number of 72? Yeah. That is one way out of that if you nail that guy and like he's good.
I'll draft Cam Ward if he's there. If not, I'll go second wave quarterback. And I'm not saying, like, the roster still does need work. Like, it was in better shape 2 or 3 years ago. Now a lot of those good moves 2 or 3 years ago, you're talking about an O-line that is getting older and might need to be replenished. I mean, this is why I'm thinking looking to the future might be the way to go. And look, even looking to the future, I would still want Myles Garrett as part of that future. I would still rather him. Like, I'd rather
Garrett
him.
Doesn't want to be part of that future, though.
I know that. I'm just, you have the sit down. You sit down. Look, you're Brown for life. We want you to go in the Hall of Fame as the Browns. We're gonna 2026. We're gonna set this thing up to win. You talk to him. But if you got to trade him, you got to trade him. You just got to get some picks back and think to 26, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would want to keep him too, but I mean, at his age, there's no reason he would want to stay around for that. So if you're tearing this thing down, I think you're trading away Myles Garrett as one of the first things you're doing, maximizing what you can get for him, and that's what he would want as well. So those are, which way are we going? Are we swinging at a quarterback and hoping we can fix this now, or are we rebuilding?
Pick one. I don't care.
You're picking 2. Pick the quarterback. It's the easiest way out of this is to just draft a quarterback and hope that guy's good.
All right. So Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. I'll take you.
Yeah.
So we're just going to take a quarterback.
Right.
And then I do believe you got to future-proof the offensive line a little bit more. They did regress last year. Again, I don't know how much of that is the Watson residual effect. They had their own issues picking up stunts and blitz, but the quarterback's a big part of that. I think he made the line look worse.
Remember, though,
go ahead.
The second you don't have to deal with Deshaun Watson, you no longer have to run like some idiot version of the offense that you think he can adjust to. Like, you can go back to Stefanski's offense.
Yeah. No, and Stefanski's shown he's been a good coach, and he's gotten the most out of, or he's gotten a lot out of, Baker Mayfield at points and Flacco and Winston, Jameis. Bringing Jameis back as the backup if he wants to come back. Got to do that. I mean, no, you've got, if you're going to draft a guy at 2, I mean, you still might need a backup. His DTR has been pretty bad. I might double up at quarterback. We're going to take Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. We're doubling up here. What else from a roster perspective for the Browns here?
Yeah, I mean, you might have to cut Jack Conklin, so I think you're going to need offensive line tackle help regardless of what you do. Nick Chubb is now a free agent coming off his knee injury and what he was last season, so you probably need a running back.
Draft one of the deep solid receivers. I mean, running back. Draft someone from the deep running back class, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're in a position where I think that they're their flaws can be not completely solved necessarily, but like the weaknesses can definitely be attacked in this draft where they have like 1 million draft picks. So your world, Andrew Berry, GM of the year outside of the worst move that's ever been made. Ton of draft capital, right? So draft Cam Ward at the top of the draft. We pick again at 33. That's a position where if we want to trade out, that's the sexy spot, right? Everyone wants to be the first pick of the second round to see who fell from the first round out into day 2. So we can potentially parlay that into even more draft picks. We can pick 25 times. We can fix the whole roster in one draft.
There we go. Turn 12 into 18 picks and get younger. That's it. It's a get younger year. The take a shot on quarterback discussion is always fascinating because you don't always know. And it's like, hey, the Browns drafted Myles Garrett in 2017 in a year where people didn't know who the best quarterback was that year, right? There were legitimate debates between Mitch Trubisky, Patrick Mahomes, and Deshaun Watson. Obviously, hindsight is clear as day, Sam. They shouldn't have taken Myles Garrett. They should have taken Patrick Mahomes. We all know that now. But that is like, those are the debates here. Like, do you just keep taking shots at quarterback and you're giving up an Abdul Carter, you're giving up a Travis Hunter, you're giving up a Mason Graham, whoever it might be, for hope that this guy becomes the next elite quarterback, even though there's like an 8% chance that that's going to happen. That's the world you're living in. But the payoff is multiple championships when you get the right guy, perhaps. So that's probably why you have to take shots at the quarterback.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do as the Browns.
Right.
Have we
so let's
solved
give them
anything?
some draft picks, given that they have 1 million of them.
Yeah, let's go do that. I was thinking Wyatt Millum, my guy from West Virginia. I know he had his struggles at the Senior Bowl, but could play either tackle spot, maybe some guard, whatever it might be. I think he could add some good depth in that 2nd to 3rd round range.
All right.
If we're trading down from 33.
Yeah. I would Cam Ward at number 2. I would take the best offer on the table for that coveted 33 pick. Like there will be teams looking to try and grab somebody that slipped out of the first round. That happens, most years. So if you trade back to, I don't know, it's 39, 40, somewhere in that range, right? You drop a few spots, you pick up somebody like that. Then what's our next pick? We pick at number.
Where's
67.
Millum now on the? Where's Millum on the consensus board these days? He's at 68. See, we get Millum there.
There you go. Okay,
There's your
so
tackle
pick somebody
prospect.
else then at 30, 39, 40.
39, 40. I like defensive. Darius Alexander from Toledo, from this defensive line group.
But that's where we can get really greedy, right? Because there's always somebody that's like consensus number 30 who slips into the 40s, like the classic, the corners last year happened to, right? You had a bunch, like this time a year ago, Terrion Arnold and the other Alabama corner, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Kool-Aid McKinstry, like these were both guys that were expected to go mid-first round, right? And McKinstry ends up slipping in the 2nd.
We're talking final year of the contracts for Martin Emerson, Greg Newsome, 3 offensive linemen. Like this is why getting younger at those spots are important. So, I take one of those corners that might fall, especially if the injured guys fall that I keep mentioning.
That's what I'm saying. So, like one of those injured guys, if they end up getting drafted at like number 39 or 40, it's going to seem like if you put that in a mock draft now, people are like, that guy's never going to slip to then. But like one of them could easily. Yeah.
Cooper DeJean will never be available at 40. We'll never see that. All right. I like that. So we've got Cam Ward. We got an offensive lineman. We have a corner getting younger at some key spots here. Get one of those second wave receivers, the receiver depth. You got to pick up one of those guys by Jaden Higgins or Jack Besh, whatever it might be. And got to get a running back round 3 or 4.
Right.
There we go. Browns are fixed.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.